Okay, this is a reaction video. Things okay in Japan but illegal around the world. Well, I've never been to Japan, so I can't really speak on whether or not about what's okay in Japan and illegal around the world. But I can't really speak what's good in Japan. But this is good information. My father's been to Japan before. My brother's been to Japan before. But things okay in Japan but illegal around the world.
These are shocking laws that are okay in Japan but illegal around the world. So I've made videos before on things that you can't do in Japan because of Japanese law, or unknown laws here in Japan that could get you arrested. But this time I wanted to switch things up and show you guys some laws here in Japan that are actually legal but are illegal in the rest of the world. Many think that Japan is a very strict country, and rightfully so, but when you hear some of these Japanese laws, you may be scratching your head. And to be clear from the start, I don't recommend doing any of these things. I'm not providing legal advice, and
I hope it's not like some of the things like it's okay to pickpocket somebody, it's okay to punch somebody in the face for any reason, something like that. I hope that's not what we're talking. I hope that's not what we're talking about here.
this is for entertainment only. But like always, before I start, if you want to see what I'm doing on the daily, check out my Instagram account. If you guys want to
Yeah, please click like, share, and subscribe for him. Please click like, share, and subscribe for me as well.
help support the channel, then check out my Japan merch. And if you have any questions about Japan or your Japan travels, check out my Discord community. Oh, and let me know in the comments how these laws compare to your country and if you agree or disagree with any of them. Alright, let's do this. Number 1, age of consent.
Oh wow, age of consent.
This one is a much debated topic in Japan today, but the legal age of consent is 13 years old.
Wow. Okay. Age of consent, 13 years old. I know a lot of people who would not agree with that in the United States of America. I don't know what the age of consent is around the rest of the world in different countries, but I think 13 is way too low.
Old in Japan, and one of the lowest in the world. Age of consent referring to the minimum age at which a person is considered to be capable of giving consent to sexual acts. In fact, this has been part of the Japan Penal Code since 1907, more than 100 years without change. Interestingly, most prefectures in Japan have statutes and local ordinances that raise the effective age to between 16 and 18 years old, while at the same time leaving some gray area for specific cases. At the end of the day though, the national age of consent in Japan is 13 years old.
Yes, I do not recommend if you ever go to Japan trolling the junior high for dates. That do not do that at all. Don't even think about it, for crying out loud. That is way too low.
Number 2, marrying cousins.
Now, there's a joke in the United States that there are certain places in the United States where people, not only is it okay to do it, where people do it on a regular basis. And to the states I'm about ready to name, or places I'm about ready to name, don't get offended. I'm not suggesting that it happens on a regular basis. People generally talk about West Virginia being that, or somewhere down south like in Alabama and Mississippi. But yeah, I'm kind of curious about this one.
On somewhat of a lighter note, it's legal in Japan to marry your first cousin. Like many of these laws in the video, it may be legal in some countries, or if you're from the US, in your state. But the truth is, in other parts of the world, marrying your first cousin is still against the law, so I thought this one was worth mentioning. This law dates all the way back to Japan's Meiji period, when it was passed in 1898. It's common enough in Japan that there's a word for it, itoko-kon. In fact, there have been many famous and well-known people in Japan who have married their first cousin. For example, Japan's 56th Prime Minister, who is the grandfather of Japan's more recent Prime Minister, Abe, was married to his first cousin. There were even 2 Prime Ministers after him who were also married to their first cousin.
You know, the current Prime Minister of Japan, this is a story in my family. I don't know, it's not like it's common knowledge, but my cousin Richard lived in Japan with my uncle and aunt were stationed. My uncle was in the Navy. He was stationed in Japan. And my oldest cousin, he's like 62, 63, whatever he is right now. He was I don't know how the prime minister is. I haven't really done a deep dive on this, but the family story is that when he was a little boy playing, a woman came up to my aunt Judy and asked if it was okay if they played, and the kid that he was playing with ended up being the prime minister of Japan. Obviously, you didn't know at the time, but that's a story in the family. I've never really done a deep dive on it, but that's a story in our family that my uh, um, cousin and the prime minister of Japan, when they were both little boys, had a little play date.
One of the reasons for this law was to allow families to keep their wealth within their family. Fortunately, for those living in Japan today who also want to legally spend the rest of their life with their first cousin, Japan is all for it. Number 3, defamation.
Oh, defamation, not good.
So this is an interesting one. In Japan, you can sue someone for defamation if they damage your honor, aka public image, even if the statements are true. This one kind of blew my
That actually doesn't necessarily surprise me a whole lot when I mean, from what we know, what little I know about Japan, they talk about your honor and but if uh, that does not necessarily surprise me a whole lot.
mind since I'm from the US and we understand defamation to be the oral or written communication of a false statement about another that unjustly harms their reputation and usually constitutes a tort or crime.
Right.
But in Japan, hurting someone's honor or even hurting a company's honor is protected by law, despite the statements being true. I should note though that many laws in Japan leave a lot of gray area, but the main 3 criteria for defamation in Japan is 1. The statement is shared with the general public. 2. It reveals specific facts whether true or not. And 3. Damages one's honor, either socially, their value, or how they value themselves.
Yeah. Okay. Again, that's if you've seen anything of Japan, uh, you know, honor, I think, believe is very important to the Japanese, and so now if I tried to sue somebody for defamation because they offended my honor, I don't think it would go very far in the United States, but I could actually see that happening in Japan.
So for example, telling your coworkers or the public that your married boss is having an affair with someone, even though if it's completely true, is considered defamation in Japan. Even online statements, if the 3 previously mentioned criteria are met, can be considered defamation. There are exceptions though, such that you're stating facts about public interest or you're a whistleblower to expose company fraud. But at the end of the day, the Japanese law is to protect individuals and companies from malicious actors that intend to do their honor or image harm. Here are 2 examples that actually
And that's not necessarily. We're not talking about. Well,
happened in Japan. Case 2018, a person was having an affair and it was posted on social media by a third party. Although the affair was happening, the person sued the third party for defamation. The Tokyo District Court judged for the plaintiff and was awarded 100,000 yen, about 820
wow.
US dollars today. And case 2, a quasi-rape incident occurred in an event circle. Quasi-rape by Japanese definition is a crime of committing sexual intercourse, anal intercourse, oral sex with another who's passed out under the influence of such as alcohol and lost consciousness to resist or was not able to resist. A magazine published an anonymous report about the incident without giving the subject's real name. In this case, although the incident happened and the subject was anonymous in the report, the court still awarded for the subject, as it was judged that the subject could be identified by judging the totality of the circumstances, and received a total of 4.4 million yen for defamation damages.
Wow. That's something that would not fly over here in the United States. That's oh my God. That's unreal.
36,000 US dollars. Maybe not necessarily illegal around the world, but I thought this one was worth mentioning. So yeah, if you're in Japan and someone's talking that shiz, you may be able to do something about it. Number 4. Food. Now this one is quite a sensitive topic for many people, so I'm going to try to tread lightly. In Japan, hunting whale and dolphins as well as eating seal and sea lion is completely legal. Although it's part of the diet for some Japanese, it's probably safe to say that most don't eat it regularly. Yet it's
Yeah, they made a Star Trek movie about hunting whales that tells us it's bad. So yeah, It's not something that's on my diet either.
It's still easily found in shops and some restaurants. Even a quick search on Amazon will yield results for some of these animals. On the other hand, shark fin, also legal to eat in Japan, probably more commonly eaten, and I think it's fair to say that many Japanese consider it a delicious food as it's easily found on menus, probably most commonly found in Chinese restaurants throughout Japan.
So if an animal is close to extinction in Japan, that's quite all right to eat it. Okay. Again, yeah, this is rather interesting. I don't know if all these animals are on the extinction list, but it's certainly not something I'm going to eat anytime soon. I'm certainly not going to travel to Japan just so I can eat it. But yeah,
But since it's such an expensive delicacy here, Japanese probably won't be eating it regularly. In regards to whaling specifically, Joji Morishita, who negotiated Japan's withdrawal from the International Whaling Commission, said in Japan the whale eating issue is a symbol of respect for different cultures, and many people in Japan think it's not right for people from outside to impose food culture on other places.
yeah, but there's another way to explain that too. Okay. Yeah, it's not right to for us to tell you what you can and can't eat. I get that, but at the same token, there are certain things out there that uh, should be protected and shouldn't be eaten at all. Um, but again, that's that's your life, your country, and you're right. It's not for us to tell you uh, to impose our will on you. I don't like when people impose their will on me. So I guess he does have something of a point there.
Whether you agree with any of this or not, the simple fact is, at this time, it's legal to eat these foods here in Japan. And number 5, cigarettes.
Now, cigarettes has been a big thing in the United States for a long time, and the anti-cigarette people have pretty much won the war. There's no place you can go where you can actually smoke a cigarette. They don't have a smoking section. I think they might have some in some airports, like Atlanta's airports, but I think even that's going away. I could be wrong. Last time I was in Hartfield, I don't remember seeing a place where you could smoke, so maybe they did win that one too. But buying a pack of cigarettes is incredibly expensive, and you can't smoke indoors, and it's really now frowned upon in the United States. So, yeah.
So these days, we all pretty much know that cigarettes are not that good for you. Many places around the world have laws protecting citizens, including children, from cigarettes and secondhand smoke. But Japan, although not there yet, is slowly catching up. There are still things that you can do legally here in Japan when it comes to cigarettes that aren't necessarily legal in other parts of the world. In Japan, you can still buy cigarettes from vending machines. Granted, you have a TASPO photo ID card and you're of age. Also, although most indoor smoking as of 2020 has been prohibited, you can still smoke in hotel rooms, cigar bars, and even some small-sized restaurants and bars.
Yeah, you can't smoke in hotel rooms. You can't smoke, but you can't smoke anywhere. You can't smoke on a plane. Smoking is just basically something that you're just not allowed to do. Well, not, let me rephrase that. You can't do it indoors. You can't do it in restaurants, or there's no designated smoking area. You can't smoke on an airplane. You can't even vape. You can't do any of that stuff. Very restrictive if you're a cigarette smoker. My brother's wife is a cigarette smoker, and she's very restrictive. She's in my car, which isn't very often, but she'll always say, "Hey, Scott, do you mind if I smoke?" My personal feeling on smoking is, if you want to smoke, go ahead and smoke. I could care less. I don't worry about secondhand smoke. I don't worry about any of that stuff. Okay, that doesn't bother me at all. That's your business. And you might say, "Oh, you might catch cancer for second." That's my choice. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But yeah, you're very restrictive if you smoke. Back when I was growing up, people smoked all the time, smoked anywhere, nobody cared. But and also when I was in Germany, I'll still never forget this. Where I was trained to Gelsenkirchen to watch the U.S. play the Czech Republic, and my dad and I are sitting, and then another American couple happened to come in, and they were heading on to Italy, but they were just touring Germany. And then another American couple came in, and the woman says, no smoking. You guys don't smoke. Nobody smokes. We're like, no, nobody smokes here. Okay, don't smoke. Don't smoke. Long story short, the couple that came in first that was on the way to Italy, they got up and left. Okay, and as we sit there, we're about two stops away from Gelsenkirchen, and this guy, this Euro guy, comes walking right on in, just waddles on in, sits down next to me, whips out a cigarette, puffs away. This is 2006. It may be different in Germany now, but he was just puffing away. And she doesn't say a word. She keeps her mouth shut. She doesn't say anything to this guy. You know, she was all over us about who didn't have any cigarettes in our hand about not smoking. But with him, go ahead, smoke away. Could care less. And turned out to be a pretty nice guy. I talked to him for a little bit there on the way to the game. Had a terrible experience at the game because the U.S. lost 3-0 to Czech Republic, but that's a different story.
That were open before April 2020. I don't know though. I feel like there's still a lot of restaurants and bars all throughout Japan that were open before 2020. Either way, Japan has come a long way from where it was just a few years ago, when wherever you went indoors, you can pretty much smoke inside. Anyways, those are things that you can legally do in Japan that may be illegal in other parts of the world. If you guys like this video, like always, help me out and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos like this or anything related to Japan, hit that subscribe button and the bell button, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Yeah, please click like, share, and subscribe for him. And please click like, share, and subscribe for me. This is interesting. I think the biggest shock for me was the age of consent at being 13. I think that's way too high. But that's, you know, I don't know what it is around the rest of the world. But to me, 13 is, sorry, I meant way too low. Sorry. Let me rephrase that. Way too low. If I said high, I meant to say low. That is way too low for age of consent. But that is what it is. Okay, hopefully they'll change that in Japan. And they did mention that some of the local towns have raised it to 16 and 18, which I think is a little bit more appropriate. But that is what it is. Again, if I said way too low, way too high, please forgive me. I meant to say low. But please click like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and have a good rest of your day.